So are you new to YouTube, kind of like me, and you're looking for that good camera that is going to take you to that next step? Then I've got possibly the camera for you. Hey guys, Campy here. I do product reviews of basically electronics and household items from kind of the mindset of a average to novice user. Hey, before we get started on the video and the whole review, I just want to throw this out there. If you don't mind hitting that subscribe button and that like button, and hopefully hitting that bell button as well, so you can see future videos like this on other items that I review. The product I'm going to be reviewing today is actually this guy, the Canon EOS M50. And thank God the camera's not in there, because it's right here. All right, so what are the specs on this guy? It's got a 24.1 megapixel CMOS sensor. It has dual pixel autofocus. It's an APS-C. It has the Digic 8 processor. It has the varied angled, they say very angled, screen. It has Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and NFC built in. And it comes with this 15 to 45 millimeter kit lens. What's the price? The price is $599.99, $600. So what do I like about this guy? In my basic experience with cameras, initially, obviously, my first one was on the Sony A5100 here that I've had for about 4 years, and I just switched over to this guy. What do I like about it? What do I like about it? Well, first and foremost, this screen, right? You've got the capability of this screen to be able to look at when you're recording. The nice thing also that I like about it is that it's completely touchscreen, and as well, you can operate a lot of the functions within the touchscreen itself. What I also like about this camera is the size of it. The size of it is quite nice. Well, it's not, as I compared in the other video that I did on the A5100 of a point and shoot, which is actually sitting up in there. It's not a point and shoot. You're not going to put this in your pocket, but also it is small, like the A5100 here, as you can see. It is small. It is not a big DSLR. So what else do I like about this? Up to 10 frames per second. Really fast camera. I also like the fact that it's 4K capable, that it can take 4K videos. It has great picture quality. But what I mean by that is it's got a nice, vibrant, warm kind of color to the photos. It has a microphone connection built into the body, so you can actually plug in a microphone. That adds to the fact that it has a cold shoe / hot shoe connection up top that you can put a microphone or an additional flash. So I list here the screen will not be blocked. What do I mean by that? The Sony A5100 has a flip up screen. It'll flip up. If I had a cold shoe on that and I had a microphone attached to it, as I flip the screen up, I'm going to run into an issue of the screen being blocked by the microphone. But instead, if you connect anything to this, your screen flips out to the side, so it won't be blocked. So when you first get this camera and you turn it on, it's got a great beginner menu for those that are in the beginner process of learning photography and vlogging. It'll walk you through a lot of processes and helps get you started. I want to add that something that's not on the list is one of the benefits that I liked that was a drawback also to the Sony camera is you have a through the lens. Basically, it's an electronic. It's not really truly a through the lens, but it's an electronic viewfinder. What I like is the fact that if you're outside and it's extremely bright and you can't see your screen very well, you can still look through this lens, through the viewfinder here, and still able to find your subject to see if you're in focus when you're taking photos or videos. So there's two things about this camera related to 4K that I don't like. I'll list one because basically it's got the cropping factor of 1.7, but additionally, it also loses the dual pixel autofocus. It goes to a contrast, it's much slower, so if you're doing any movement, maybe in this condition, in this situation, it's going to be pretty good, but you do anything else with some movement in your video and whatnot, you're going to run into an issue of constant focusing. You can search YouTube and you will see it a ton of times. So I'm not going to get into details about the two features with the 4K side because I won't be using it, and two, you can find it on basically anybody else's review of the Canon M50. So one of the features I don't see a whole lot of people talking about, and maybe it's just me complaining, I don't know. So one of the things that you have to do is when you turn on the camera, is when I turn it on, if you can see here, I don't know if you can tell, but it's way out of focus, and it gives you a warning on the screen. Please press and hold the lens switch in that direction and rotate the lens. What they mean is you have to grab this guy here, slide it forward, and then open the lens till it snaps. Now you can focus as you need to, zoom in and zoom out to get your photo. So if you're looking to do something fast with this camera, when you're taking it from completely off to on, it's not going to work. All right, so one of the other features I don't like about this camera is the battery. The battery itself is, while I've only tested it very limitedly, it doesn't compare to the A5100 in what I've seen so far. This camera suffers from a bit of a low light issue. The pictures start to get a little grainy. Lastly, a lot of people have reported this, the body feels a little bit off. And what I say by that is the body itself, it's solid. It's weird to explain, and I think anybody else who has an M50 or anybody who's gone to a store and checked it out, it's hard to explain necessarily. Some people have said it's plasticky, but it's got a good little rubber grip right here. But the rest of the camera has this ABS kind of plastic feel. You have the feeling that if you drop it on something, you're going to just shatter it maybe in some cases. I'm not going to test that. Not really. No, I'm going to leave it as it is and try to do my best with this guy. So who's this camera for? Who's it for? It's for what I'm doing right now. This camera should be over there in place of what I'm using. It should be used for YouTubers, my opinion, especially beginners. Those beginners that don't have a whole lot of money, want to do it a little bit more on the cheap and want to get away from using smaller cameras, cheaper cameras, cell phones, you name it, that they want to kind of transition into more of a photography style camera that they want to use for their videos. Plus also want to have a good camera to take some decent pictures with. This camera is the guy that you want to go in and switch into. Vloggers. Same difference, right? It's YouTubers, or maybe you have other people that use other platforms to do vlogging with. This camera works out really good, and why I say that is it's also quite light in comparison to DSLRs and larger cameras. It is not much in the weight side of the house on your arm, so you're not going to feel too fatigued when you're using this over a period of time. Travelers, you're going to like this. This camera's nice and light. Same aspect that I said for a vlogger that's holding this camera while they're walking around. Maybe they have a Gorilla Pod in there, or they have some type of, extension that's holding it. The other side of the house is for the travelers who wants to take some decent photos, shoot some video, getting their family. The nice thing about it, again, kind of like anything else, is that what if you're out on traveling, you're out at a great scene, and you want to take a picture with you and your significant other, and you don't have anyone around, and maybe, or you do see a lot of people to hand this to, and you're just not sure if you want them to grab a hold of your camera because it might walk away. If you're worried about that, you got the screen, geez, you're done, right? You can knock out a couple photos without having worried about losing your camera. Last but not least, in my opinion, beginner photographers. If you're looking to just get into photography, maybe you don't want to use this for video. This is touted all across YouTube as being the ultimate YouTube camera for 2018 into 2019. And I would still argue that it's probably just as good today. But there are some people who want to just get into photography, and they want to go ahead and get into a DSLR, but they can't quite afford the higher end. Well, here's the thing. You can do some decent photography with some more inexpensive cameras. And I'm just speaking as the layperson. You can do it with your phones. You can do it with your cheaper cameras. You can knock it out with a point and shoot, as I have up there. And you can start there and say, hey, this is where I want to go. Maybe, I don't know. But this is the point, in my opinion, where you get to this type of camera that is really in the area of photography, and you can start with this and taking pictures and setting it up, getting into the manual mode, doing a lot of the adjustments to your f-stops, your ISOs, and everything to take really good pictures. And then at this point where it's not too overly expensive, you can decide at this point in time, am I into photography? And then maybe that's where it takes you to the next step, and you jump all into larger cameras, and this little bad boy is then sitting on your shelf going, hey, this is where I started. And maybe now you're some super photographer. So finally, my thoughts on this guy. I love this camera. I'm quite satisfied and quite happy with it. Don't get me wrong, I'm still happy with the Sony, and it still works flawlessly for me. But I love this guy, especially when I'm wanting to use this more in the YouTube aspect and use it more for video recording and also photography. This I like. It's for me. I still want to preface that mostly I use these types of cameras for basically all around, right? I'm going to do the YouTube stuff, but mostly I'm going to also be taking pictures of my wife, my family, and I'm also going to be taking it on travel so that I have a good camera to take photos with, and most likely, we'll be doing some YouTube stuff while I'm traveling. So I've got basically an all-in-one type of camera. It's easy to just start. What I mean by easy to just start is you turn it on, basic menus, you get yourself some, set up a little bit, and boom, you're off taking photos, you're taking videos, you're doing whatever you need to. It has a mic built into the camera. I showed this before. It's got a mic connection in the camera body itself. It also has the cold hot shoe, so you can attach the microphone to your camera itself. What probably, again, I stated before, is probably some of the drawbacks. The 4K, we're in the world now of people doing 4K. We got YouTube people doing 6K and 8K. To be honest, most people who are watching videos, I think the biggest thing is they want a decent video quality, but they actually want more sound quality. So when I was looking at this camera, I wasn't necessarily looking for the 4K, even though it does have that crop factor, and as well it has the contrast focusing instead of the dual pixel focusing that the 1080p version has, which is awesome. In those factors, I think that the main point of this whole camera would be that it's great to have a lot of what you need for the YouTube side of the house. Hot, cold shoe, mic connection, which means you can get yourself a good microphone, attach it to this to get good audio, because people like to hear decent audio with their video, especially when they're trying to learn something, right? Issue that I have, if you want to do some quick shots and something is happening right in front of you and it's happening now and you want to get it captured, you still have to flip this lever and get it out to get it started. The battery life on this is probably not the greatest. So I recommend, first thing and foremost, is get yourself a second battery, even a third battery. I haven't done that yet. I'm going to, hopefully here relatively soon, just so that I'm not having to be stuck having to recharge the battery, waiting for it to get charged so that I can do some more recording with this. Last but not least, basically the construction of the camera. And I say construction, I mean in the plasticky kind of feel of the camera. I maybe would have liked it a little bit more, a little bit more, less of that ABS kind of, potentially it's going to shatter, almost like fiberglass feel, plastic feel. So my overall thought process of this camera, I've already said I love this camera, and I think that this is basically kind of the one for right now. So follow me on this, right? It's less than $600 by a penny. With tax it won't be, but it's got basically everything that checks a lot of boxes for you, especially if you're doing the YouTube side of the house. You got a pretty decent lens that comes with the kit. You got a good Canon is a good camera company that has some good quality pictures. You do have some menu features that you can switch to get yourself a good quality video if you want to. It has 4K capable if you really want it. It has really great 1080p. It has this screen that you can flip out for your selfie, or if you're doing videos and you want to make sure that you're still remaining in frame. And more importantly, especially with this camera I don't even know if the thing's still recording. It could have died in battery or something, and I could have been talking for however long and didn't even know it was off. But you can tell here with this screen, it's got a touch screen. It's got where you can manipulate the menu on this screen. You've got a cold shoe, hot shoe on here that you can connect a microphone to, and you have a mic in the body. You got all the boxes checked off for everything you want to do to basically be that starter in the whole YouTube venue, right? They always say take good quality videos as best you can, but most importantly, the audience wants to hear decent audio. That's kind of why I also I'll put up another card here too that I referenced that this Insignia microphone, while it's a cheapie, is improved my audio great leaps and bounds. So for 2019, 2020, I think this camera is still as relevant as it was when it was introduced in 2018 and everyone was flipping out about it on YouTube. I still think it's a great camera. I've just recently purchased it, so I'm vested in this guy, and so far I've seen nothing really that is going to be a deter of a purchase for this camera, as opposed to all its benefits that you see here. I want to know what you think. What kind of camera do you have? Do you have the Sony M50? What do you think about the M50? Hey, even what do you think about this review in itself? Give me some notes down below in the comment section. But while you're down there, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. And then, of course, hit that bell. And just so you know that if you like these types of videos that I'm doing and you want to see more, if you hit that bell and hit that all, it'll let you know next time I upload a video. So that would be the end. Here comes the end screen. So peace out. Go.